Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Non-League Nuts and Natter. Quick turnaround between the podcasts this time, purely because someone's deciding to go and sun themselves on a holiday this week. So, yeah,
I'd hardly call it sunning myself in Belfast, but there you go.
but yeah, it's just worked out that tonight is pretty much only the feasible night that we could do something. Didn't really want to leave it a week because we've got the one match report to get in, and there has been a little bit of news, and it was Vase and Trophy weekend, so we have got a little bit to discuss. So, yeah, just one game for us this week, but we were both at the same game for once. Andrew made his way up to the Midlands and decided to come and visit the Beeches for the third time. Is it, Andrew?
Third time there. I've seen Tividale 7 times in total, but this was the third
Yeah.
time at the Beeches. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, given that Andrew was the guest, I'll and doesn't watch Tividale often, I'll let him give the report and his honest opinion.
Honest
So whenever
opinion.
you're
Yeah.
ready.
Okay. Okay. I'm just bringing it up on my screen so I can read what I've written. So the match was Tividale against Highgate United. Both teams in the Midland Premier Division, Step 5. However, this was not a league match this week. This was the Midland League Cup, 4th round. Now, in terms of league position, going into the match, Highgate sat in 3rd place in the league and Tividale in 17th. So there's a bit of a difference in the standard of the teams. But as I say, this was a cup game, so anything can happen in a cup game.
Yeah.
Had an amazing attendance of 49 people through the gate. And sold a few programs as well. So, to the match.
Can I just say, on the attendance, in all fairness, we were up against it. Everyone in the area that could have been at home was at home. Stourbridge were at home, Kidderminster were at home in the Trophy, Stourport were at home in the Vase, Halzone were at home, West Brom were at home, Birmingham were at home, Cradley Town were at home, literally Live Town were at home. Everybody in the Midlands this weekend seemed to be at home, and it didn't help that Footballisy got it wrong on the app by saying we were away to Stourport in the Vase. So I noticed that on Friday, got it back on, but like I said to you, most ground hoppers have probably already planned their weekend by the time they've noticed that. So there was more
Absolutely.
than
I
I
mean, there are
expected.
mitigating circumstances there. You're fair. Fair point. Fair point.
And given it 25-3, there was 7 through the gate, we did pretty well in the end.
That's true as well. Yeah, and it would have only been 48 if I hadn't made the trip up from Luton. So there you go.
It would have been, yeah.
Anyway, to the game. This is what we were there for. So, not a lot happened to start with. I mean, 10 minutes in, and there'd only been a couple of half chances at both ends at that point. Sort of like missing by a little bit, and not a lot going on. And by 20 minutes, still much happening. Lots of faff and naught to show for it is what I wrote down in my little report here. First thing of any note really came just after the half hour. Highgate stuck across from the left, across the face of the goal. Went past the goalkeeper, past one striker, and was met by the second striker at the far post, and he planted it into the roof of the net. 1-0 to Highgate. So that was that. So 38 minutes in, 5 minutes after that, then until we get a booking, which was a very harsh booking. There was nothing more than a coming together between the players. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was barely even a foul, let alone a booking. One of the ref was a little bit one of them on the Saturday, wasn't he? He was just a little bit over the top on what he was looking at.
I don't think he got many decisions wrong.
Big decisions he got right. He just was a little bit over-eager at times, I think. So
and he was. We've had this discussion before. He wasn't very on top of the descent and the kicking the balls away and other things and time wasting and that.
Yeah,
there was all talk when it came to that. I mean, he told Reece at one point, we were making a sub, and he said to Reece, set it up now unless you want to book in
Reece was
for
the
the
Highgate
goalkeeper.
goalkeeper, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Sorry, yeah. But he told the Highgate keeper while Tividale were making a substitution, he'd already been wasting time a little bit. That set up to take a goal kick now, unless you want to book in. And Reece didn't. He argued with him, saying, "What are you going to book me for?" Didn't set up the goal kick, and still took a good 30 seconds after he blew the whistle to take it, and still didn't book him. So
Yeah,
he just didn't deal with the time wasting well. Not that it mattered, as we'll find out in the end. But
yeah. I
yeah,
don't think it would have made a lot of difference. So,
and he was being assessed. So I don't know. Because he's going for promotion, and I would say he didn't really do enough for me to say, yeah, you can go up the level.
no, like I say, he wasn't terrible, but he
No,
certainly didn't excel. So
no,
anyway, the resulting free kick from this booking that never
oh,
was,
yeah,
the free kick, Highgate was on the edge of the area. He belts it in. It hits the keeper who spilled it. Not for the first time in the game and not for the last either, but he did spill it. But the defence managed to take control of this one, get rid of it. So it was
yeah,
got away with that one.
yeah.
Was it second string keeper in, or was it the main one for Tividale?
No, it was Tim Beach. He's our cup keeper. Um, he doesn't play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his situation is. I think he still works for the fire service, so he can't really commit as much as he would like to.
Yeah,
And yeah, so he's probably one of the fittest people you'll ever meet. One, because of his job,
yeah.
um, but he just doesn't get the minutes under his belt. So I think he's a bit rusty when it comes to match fitness.
Rusty with match fitness rather than
Yeah,
fitness itself. Absolutely, yeah.
but he's
Like I
still a
say, the
very,
defence
very
cleared
good
it, got rid
goalkeeper.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So a few minutes after that, just coming up to half time, Highgate clear down the left, crossing the same as the one that scored, but this time the incoming striker managed to hit it wrong and slice it wide. So we went in at half time, Tividale 0, Highgate United 1. Okay,
yeah,
so on paper it looks reasonably close. On the
yeah.
pitch, for most of it, it wasn't that bad for the first. Well, certainly for the first half hour
Oh, no,
until Highgate scored. It was pretty even up until that point.
yeah, we
After
had
they
that one.
scored, they seemed to have a little bit more of it. Um,
Yeah,
but they went at half time. It's only 1-0 down. There's still a chance in this.
yeah, and we probably should have been 1 or 2 up before they scored. I mean, Reece made that save from a half chance, and we had that one blocked as well.
That's right. Yeah, there was a couple of good
Yeah,
saves from the Highgate keeper, certainly.
yeah,
So into the second half we go. Nice hospitality, by the way. I got a cup of tea. It was very nice. Thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no problem.
Um,
Saved you a pound there, don't I? Or £1.50, whatever the tea is now.
yeah. Okay, so 48 minutes. Highgate cross from the right. Trickles all the way across the face of the goal again, but no one got to it. So it was crossed back in, bit of pinball, Tivy survived. So that was literally just after half time. So Highgate are on the attack. Look like it's going to be. They've come out second
Yeah,
half firing all guns. 53 minutes and shot from the edge of the keeper took a slight deflection. Shot from the edge of the area took a slight deflection and went past the keeper, and it's 2-0 to Highgate. It was unlucky. I mean, it did take a deflection. It wasn't much of a deflection, but without the deflection, it probably would have been saved. So a little bit unlucky, but at this point, it's 2-0 to Highgate, and they're on top of everything. And to be honest, Tividale start looking like they're devoid of ideas.
yeah, can't
So,
argue with that. Cannot argue with that.
okay, so just coming up to the hour mark, and Highgate on the attack again, get a good attack, and Timmy keeper gets a good save down to his left. It's a good save, kept it at 2-0. So, and that was followed immediately by an actual attack from Tividale.
Yay!
Went forward, crossed it in, it was controlled nicely, smacked at the keeper who saved it with his godpiece, is the polite way of putting this.
Yeah,
Smacked him in the knackers is a not
yeah,
quite so nice way of placing it.
yeah.
It was a good save. He was
It was.
he did stand straight up and make sure the ball got out of the thing, at which point he then collapsed and
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Painted him.
yeah, felt a little bit sorry for him, but that's football. Yeah, you play the game, you get smacked occasionally. So
Yeah, you get it. Part of the job.
that was one of the few times Tividale actually got forward in the second half.
Yeah.
There was another time when they did get forward. Hold on, I've just got to move that out of the way. Get rid of that. There we go. So, yeah, just 68 minutes, and Tividale got a free kick on the edge of the box,
Yep.
and it went just wide. So, could have pulled
Yeah.
one back there, but it didn't. The luck just was not going Tivy's way at all.
Yeah, I think Snapper slightly mishit that as well because as soon as he hit it, he went, shit.
Yeah. So a slight miss it, but
Yeah.
it went wide, and there we go. That was a chance gone.
Yeah.
75 minutes, Highgate going forward again. Have a shot from the edge of the area, and it's low into the corner. Very good finish, nicely placed. Keeper didn't have a chance on that one. 3-0 to Highgate.
Yeah.
And then we carry on with Highgate going forward and Tividale not going forward. We get past into the 90. We're on to 1 minute into injury time, and Highgate get a penalty. Now, my question is now, did you see how they got the penalty? Because we were at the wrong end of the pitch. It's pointless asking you because you probably barely see the end of the pitch. So don't know how the penalty came about. But either
It's no good
way,
asking me.
no, exactly. Highgate did score it 4-0, and that's how it finished. So Tividale 0, Highgate 4.
Yeah.
Not a bad match for the neutral. For the Tivi fan, disappointing performance. Highgate did all right, and that's where we
Yeah.
left that.
Yeah, that's where we left it. I mean, we didn't hear the actual dressing down of the team, but I understand there was one. We were made aware of one as we were sorting the floodlights out.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just always had the right go at it there. Well, I mean, funny. They
mm,
deserve it.
yeah,
Looks like first half an hour was competitive.
yes,
Even up until half time, we were competitive. But after half an hour, we dropped off a little bit.
yeah,
We did make a lot of changes. There was 6, 7, 8 changes to the squad.
hmm
Um, yeah, but I think it's just a bit of they went 2 down and I didn't know what to do.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, some players potentially not. I wouldn't say they're not good enough because I think they are good enough,
hmm
but not to have as many on the pitch as we did at one time that just seemed not to have the fight once they went 2 down.
Yeah,
I mean, we played Coleshill in October. We went 3 down. We come back and won 4-3. So it's within the
that's when
team.
you've got a team with a bit of fight. Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, as Stu said on Saturday, Snapper, he's the youngest kid on the pitch, and he was the best player on the pitch, and he ran his nuts off all game. And that shouldn't be the case. Yeah, okay, he should be running his nuts off all game anyway because he's only
but
18,
so should
19,
the other
whatever he
players
is.
as well.
But
Yeah,
yeah, players shouldn't be looking to him for inspiration. He should be looking to, as Stu said, some of his more experienced players.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're out of the cup, but as much as it would have been nice to have a semi-final, as I say, at the minute our priority has to be the league.
Yeah, sitting in the relegation spots in the league, priority has to be to the league performances now to get out of that situation. Definitely
Yeah,
agreed.
results didn't exactly go our way. Dudley Town won 5-0 again. But the good thing about that, it was against Beeches Town, so at least that keeps them rock bottom and
Yeah,
long points below us. Northwich got a draw, and Atherstone won at Chifnell. So yeah, not the best
mm,
results for us, but again, wasn't a league game for us, so that gives us another game in hand over all of those.
yeah,
Which didn't play. They're now the team above us. Funnily enough, we should be playing those tomorrow, but I don't think that'll be on. The youth team's got frozen off tonight, and it's supposed to be colder overnight tonight, so I can't see the pitch for it out. That now becomes a huge game in that season.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there was some positives to take from it.
There was a couple of good performances. Certainly, like you say, the
Yeah.
guy, the young guy on the
Yeah.
wing, he was good. So.
Armand got 60 minutes under his belt and looked sharpish after being out of the country for 3 or 4 months. Sean came back, got 20 minutes, half an hour in his legs. He's been out with a groin injury, I think it was, or a calf injury. He came on. Malcolm Melvin, again, same. He's been out since pre-season with a knee injury. He got half an hour in his legs at the end. So, yeah, like I say, a few positives in there. But, yeah. Ultimately, the team that was out there Saturday just wasn't good enough.
No.
And on that performance, I would suggest you can see why we are where we are in the table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it wasn't the greatest performance, definitely. No, and they need some better ones if they're going to stay up.
Yeah, and we have played a lot better than that, and we have played a lot better than that recently. Like I say, I think it was just the changes. Like I say, the cup for us really are not a priority at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was nice to have a cup game to be able to play, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have played, because we were supposed to play with Church Saturday now in the Vase. For obvious reasons, we couldn't play that because that's our priority. Like I say, it's unlikely we're going to play tomorrow. We were called off last Tuesday.
Yeah.
With the temperatures, it's likely we're going to get called off on Saturday as well. So it's nice to have got the game in, so we didn't have to find somewhere else to slot that in. Because the fixtures are already piling up, so we could do without any more.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
Gosh.
But on Highgate,
Well, there we go. That was a match report.
Yeah,
go on, say it again.
Just before we move on, I will say Highgate. When we played them at Highgate in October, whenever it was, they beat us 4-1 then. It wasn't the best performance from us on that day, but you heard me say to you at the end of the game on Saturday, the difference in that league game was Highgate at that point were the best footballing side we've come against all season. So it's like, was the result actually that bad? Yes, the performance wasn't great, but was the result actually that bad? Saturday, I think Highgate, although they won 4-0, I think they'll be a bit relieved. Not relieved, because I think they deserve to win the game, but I think they were a bit flattered by the scoreline.
I would say, they were flattered by the scoreline. And I say the poor performance from some Tivi players certainly contributed to Highgate being able to win it 4-0.
Well, the first goal, centre half, it's a poor ball out from the back, really poor. And one ball, then they're in behind the defence, and like I said, then we're playing catch up. So 3 out of our own downfall. Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for match reports this week, because we were, like you say, both at the same match.
Yeah.
And,
It's only Monday, so we haven't had a chance to get another one in yet.
No. And the one I'm going to tomorrow doesn't count as non-league, so.
It doesn't matter though. It's a different country, so we can accept that.
All right, we might have a brief discussion about that one next week then, provided it goes ahead. Depends on the weather over in Northern Ireland. So.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably worse, probably even colder over there.
Yeah, well, never know. We shall see how it goes.
Yep.
Right, moving on.
Yep, moving on. So we've covered a couple, but I have seen a lot more. Teams struggling financially at the moment.
Yeah.
And this isn't an isolated incident. It's happening in a lot of leagues, up north, in the Midlands, down south. It's happening everywhere. And I think something major has to give, and it has to give soon, else we are going to lose probably 20, 30 clubs a season because of finances, or you're going to have more teams doing what Marsh have done. We can't afford to finish the season. We'll go again next season from a lower level.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. We know it's not cheap. I mean, this year it's probably costing, I don't know the exact figures, but I would say it's costing Tividale around about £20,000 in running costs, and that's not including player wages. And then you add to that the players' wages. Players' wages are actually higher than running costs. Now, for a club that, as you say, we had 49 there Saturday.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible. And of the 49, I think 37 paid because obviously we had a couple of sponsors turn up, which obviously they've put money into the club, so we're not going to ask them to pay. They've already put money into the club. Highgate had however many they get up to 10 free. I don't think they use the full 10. I think they only use 7 or 8, and then there's a couple from Tividale that obviously don't pay as well. But obviously that's what we're doing. They're doing at the club. So yeah, and then the referee alone on Saturday cost us £85 because of his expenses. Because the Midland League, for some reason, I don't know what their issue is with the Midland League, but for some reason, they're insistent on sending referees to us pretty much every week from Staffordshire. And when I say Staffordshire, I don't mean just the other side of Wolverhampton. I mean right the way to the top of Staffordshire towards Leek.
Right.
It's every week. You don't mind it once or twice, but it's every week, and it's absolutely killing us because we have to pay the mileage. Which we're paying cheap amounts of mileage when we know there's officials that are 5 minutes down the road. Like I said,
where are they going to?
Well, they must be going up there because if they keep sending them down here. Yeah, so it's little things like that as well. The leagues have got to take a look at themselves. I mean, if you look at the Midland League, okay, yes, it's step 6, but if you look at the Midland League Division 1, there's a lot more teams around that area.
Yeah.
Send them there.
Yep.
They're registered to a county FA, so they should be registered to, I don't know how it works, but you would imagine they're registered to more leagues at that step that cover that county FA. I don't know how it works. Do you register to a league? I don't know. It might just be you have to register to a league. In that case, okay, if they want step 5, they're potentially going to come this far. But yeah, it's not fun when we're having to pay their expenses every week. And we're getting 40 through the gate. Like I say, part of that is our own fault. We're not the best advertising stuff. Like we try, but we're not the best at that kind of thing. We're not from marketing backgrounds. We don't know what else we can do. It's out on Twitter. It's out on whatever else other platform they use. Yeah. We've touched on it in the past with the FA Vase. It's actually better playing away.
Yeah.
Than the FA Cup. It's better playing away because, especially in the early rounds, you're not going to get the crowds. If we're at the stage of the Vase now, we'll be like, okay, yes, we're playing at home, we'll cover that easy because we know we'll get the crowds because you're going to get your round hoppers. Yeah, like I said, the last round against Ashby in the Vase, it cost us money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When we shouldn't have even been at home in the first place.
Yeah, that was a weird thing about that one. That was just not on, really. No, I mean, from my point of view, I mean, I've been to a few games this season where I've heard conversations with chairman and basically going, he said, you know what costs this club more than anything else? And he said, it's those 11...
Yeah.
I can't remember the word he used, but it wasn't very polite. It was those 11 out there who said, think they can play football and think they deserve massive amounts of money when they're playing at step 5 of non-league, and he was having a bit of a rant. But I've heard that 2 or 3 times. I heard another chairman saying that purely the difference between winning a league and being bottom half of the league is the amount of money you can spend on your playing staff. If you've got
100%.
no playing budget, then you're going to be fighting for relegation every year. And you just have to accept that if that's what you can afford, that's where you're going to be. And at those steps, players move between clubs. There's no transfer windows or anything. They see a better offer.
You just got to be signing. You can't sign anyone after the end of March unless it's an emergency for a goalkeeper.
Right,
Sorry,
okay.
end of February. Sorry, end of February.
Okay, so it's for most of the rest of the season. They just
Yeah,
butter off when they like. I think they're
yeah.
limited to. Are they limited to 2 teams per season, or can they play for as many different teams as they like per season?
I'm trying to think. I don't know on that one. I know professionally, if they're contracted, I think because you're not contracted, you can play for as
Yeah,
many.
that's probably true. Yeah, yeah. If you're
If you're
non-contract,
contracted,
yeah,
I think it's 2.
yeah. 2 would make sense. It certainly is in the professional leagues. It's 2 in a
Yeah,
season.
yeah,
But they're all contracted. Like you say, if you're a non-contract player, then it probably doesn't apply.
yeah,
But yeah, so are players being unrealistic with their demands for salaries at these steps? I mean, bearing in mind that this is definitely part-time football, these guys
yeah.
all have jobs.
hmm
So in that respect, if they're playing football at that level, you'd like to think they're playing football at that level because they want to play football and they want to enjoy it. And maybe they want to progress and get better and get into a higher league where they can go pro. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Some do. But if they're
yeah,
playing purely at part-time things, they've got to take into account that it is part-time.
yeah,
They have got another job, which should be their main earner.
yeah,
But there we go.
yeah. And like you say, certainly at step 5, you can look at the table and you can see, right, the top 4 or 5 have got the biggest budgets. You
Yeah.
move down, they've got an okay budget, and then your bottom 4 or 5 have probably got a low budget.
Yeah.
Um, at the minute, the bottom 2 in our league reflects that. Beardley have no budget. They're bottom
hmm
on 4 points.
Yeah.
Then I would say we then probably do have the next low budget. We don't have no budget. We would have if it wasn't for Stu. He'd have to work for it himself. He'd have to go and ride it all himself. But just bear in mind that figure of £20,000 that I figured earlier, roughly for our running costs.
hmm
The wage budget for the season is more than that. The,
Go
the
on.
wage budget, the wage budget for this season is more than I earn in a year. Let's put it that way.
Jesus.
Um, obviously, that's split over average of 15 people a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Fair
not just
enough.
one
But
person obviously
even
earning
so,
that.
even so, it's a big amount of money. So
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and that's a problem. You've got a step 5 football club that's having to outlay a full-time wage, effectively, of
mm, one full-time wage. Yeah.
one
Yeah.
full-time wage per year.
Yeah.
And like I say, we're one from bottom in that league. So that's not a
hmm
competitive budget in that league.
No.
So what are the teams at the top paying?
Yeah. Exactly. So
And
it's
that's at
just
step 5.
madness, isn't it?
Yeah. I think something has to happen soon. Either it's going to have to be, I don't know. I don't know what can be done. And let the FA potentially got to step in and say, right, if you're part time, the maximum you can earn is this much.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, like I say, but the point is, I mean, you've got to be able to, your team's got to be able to progress up the leagues. And if you're going from, I mean, for example, let's just take going from National League North South into the National League.
yeah,
You're going from a division where you've got a mixture of some full-time teams and a
yeah,
lot of part-time teams into
mhm,
the National League Premier, which is effectively all a full-time league. It may as well
yeah,
be Division 5.
yeah,
And the step up financially between those two is huge.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
and if you were capping lower down, then the difference between that and the step up is even bigger. So,
in all honesty, I don't think capping wages from the Premier League down is a bad idea. That's one solution. There's another solution of, we touched on it with Mark the other week about them needing £120,000 to finish the season is a fraction of a wage for a top earning Premier League player.
Yeah.
Premier League down to League 2, 1% of your total wage gets put aside into a pot and split evenly across from step 1 down to 6.
I mean, that would be a big amount. I mean, you ask. So let's just think. Some of the top players on £400,000 a week. Some are on more than that, I know. But let's just say 500,000. It's easy to work out then, isn't it? So it's a couple of million a month.
26 million, yeah.
12 months. Yeah, you're looking at 20 million, and you get 1% of that. You're talking 200,000, and that's just one player.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just one player. So, like you say, if you took a 1% tax or
once they're only above a certain level, because obviously you've got some players who are only on hundreds of pounds a week, others who are on hundreds of thousands.
Absolutely. But so let's just say once you hit sort of like
10, 15, 20,000 pounds a week.
Yeah, okay. Let's say, so once you're hitting, say, £150,000 a year.
Yeah.
You take 1% out of that out, that's 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
When you're earning 150 grand a year, I'm hoping you're not going to miss 1,500, because I certainly wouldn't.
Well, to me as well.
And then, like you say, then you've got the ones earning millions a year, then that's going to block up. And so you think of all the players. I mean, if you added up the salaries of just the Premier League players and took 1% of that, that would be a huge amount that would guarantee the survival of most of non-league.
Yeah.
But there we go.
But what I wouldn't, although I'd like to see that happen, what I would like the FA to do is say those funds, and we are going to check what the funds are being used for, can only be used for the club. They can't be used for players' wages or whatnot.
And they can't be taken out of the club by the owner. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because all that'll happen then is your step 5 wage will go from £100 a week to £1,000 a week.
Yeah.
The players are like, well, we know you're getting this money.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, you need to say, right, you've got to say what you're spending it on, etc. And it's
only
not
a percentage.
all to go on the playing staff. Yeah.
Only a percentage can be used for wages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an
or it
option.
can be used for wages in situations such as, like we said, with North Shields, they lost an entire month of fixtures because of the weather, but they were still expected to pay the wages but had no income.
Yeah.
In that situation, you just have to write to the FA, send an email to the FA. We've had no income. You can see these games have been called off. We've had no income this month. We're taking X amount from that pot you've given us to pay the wages.
Yeah.
FA comes back, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another solution. Will it ever happen? Probably not, because it's too much like common sense. And like I say, the FA and the Premier League don't seem to want to help. Don't seem to want to help.
Common sense, no.
And don't seem to want to help non-league. Although they keep saying, "Oh yes, we must ensure the survival of the non-league." But yeah, you're not doing anything to help. Yeah, but the way you'd sell it to the players for me is like, "Well, should I give away that?" Well, it's pre-tax. It comes out like it would a pension and your national insurance. It's pre-tax, so in fact, you'll probably get a little bit more in your pay packet by doing that.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, I mean, the way it stands at the moment, I mean, it's very difficult for players. There may well be players up there in the top divisions that would happily fund a non-league club, but competition rules generally mean they can't, because they can't have a financial interest in a club that potentially they could be playing against in an FA competition. So, like, I'm not saying all the Premier League players are money grabbing buggers who won't share their money. There's probably a fair few out there that would happily chuck a little bit of money towards a non-league club. They're just restricted in how they can do it.
Yeah, 100%. But like I said, by taking out the wages, putting it all into one pot.
Yeah. Then they've
And
got
then
no say over where it
it's,
goes. Exactly.
it's distributed evenly.
Yeah.
So they could turn up to the club and say, "Oh, I've paid for your club," and blah, blah, oh, yeah, you have, but it might not have been your money that's come to us.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's
Mm.
like I say, being at a club where finances are non-existent. Let's just put it that way.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
it,
that's a common situation. So
yeah, and like I say, there's, I mean, we say this most seasons. There is a real possibility Tividale might not exist next season because of finances.
Mhm.
But we always find a way, and I'm sure we will again. But
Yeah.
you never know. This year could be the year our luck runs out and we don't find a way.
Mm. Yeah. Well, there we go.
And then I don't know what I'm
We'll
going to
see
do
what
about
happens.
this.
No. Anyway, but moving on from the finance side of things, you did say that one of your news stories this week involves a situation with that, didn't you? So
Almost moving off topic.
go on then.
But yeah, I noticed a news article. I think it was on BBC Sport. That Taunton Town had lost 6 of their players within 7 days. Um, I believe Taunton Town is a part time, but in National League South, so it's one of those which is split between full time and part time.
Right.
And from reading it, I only did a quick skim read because sometimes I can't be bothered to read. I'm not going to lie. Depends how tired I am. But it seems as though all 6 of them, there's no grudges held with any of them leaving, and they've all gone on to full-time contracts elsewhere.
Right.
So they're struggling financially. They lost a lot of their home games in October, November, and December due to flooding. They only had 10% of their expected income, but still 100% of their outgoings. So obviously, yeah. They didn't have as good a run in the FA Cup or the trophy as they would have liked. So obviously, they've not had
Lost out
competition or anything
financially
like
that way. Yeah.
that. And they never received a significant amount of sponsorship money. So that's also not helped.
Mhm.
And this is reflected also in their league positioning. So at the end of September, they were top of the table after only 1 loss in their opening 11 games.
Yeah.
So they're now currently sitting 19th with 1 win in their last 12.
Ow. Yeah, that's a big
That
turnaround.
is a big
A long one.
turnaround, yeah. But they did finish with a little bit of positive news, and they have secured a new sponsorship deal.
Right.
And they have signed 2 new players this week, including a loan signing from Bristol City.
Oh, well, that might be nice for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have also it was Bristol City. I put Bristol. I don't know if it could be City, it could be Rovers, but I'm sure it was City. I forgot to put the C or the R, but I'm sure it was Bristol City.
Bristol something. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have just finished it with just saying, but just a reminder, we are working with a restricted budget. Just
Mhm.
so, although we've given you that little bit of hope, just remember we still have a restricted budget.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like I say, step 2, Taunton. I'm sure the National League. Let me have a quick look. Got the paper. I'm sure they're a National League South.
Yeah.
Yes, your expenses are more, but as you say, it's a part-time team trying to compete with a league where there's full-time.
Mm.
So yeah, they are National League South. And just for context, you've got Yeovil Town who are at the top of that, who were
Yeah.
in the Championship, 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's the calibre of teams they're fighting against. And
Yeah.
yeah, Taunton is probably, in all fairness, it's probably as big a place as Yeovil.
Yeah.
But
Similar sized town. Yeah.
it's, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can't. I'm just going to keep repeating myself on this, and like I say, it rolls me up, especially when it comes to players wanting astronomical amounts of money. Like I said, I got into an argument on Twitter the other week with someone after the North Shields incident saying, well, they're giving up their free time. I'm like, yeah, and 10 years ago when I started, it was exactly the same. And players did it for a maximum of 20 quid a week. They're now asking for 10 times that.
Yeah.
And they're spending less at the club. They expect more and more from the club and give even less back.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, like I say, we need to move on before.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's linked to the finances. So let's.
Yeah.
We know non-league is in a bad way. So,
Yeah.
in terms of news, have you got the big scores for me? Because I haven't even bought a paper this week, let alone looked at it.
That's why you should subscribe and get it posted through your letterbox.
Yeah, true.
Save yourself £2.20 for every 10 issues.
I know one big one, but I'll tell you why when you say it, because you will say it. So.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Right, so these are only the step 2 or 3 and 4 because the trophy and the vase are going to touch separately.
Yeah, cool.
So there are 10, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 19, 20. So 22 this week.
Oh, a lot of goals went in then.
Yeah, considering we only had one game in step 1 and not many in step 2 because of the trophy.
That was Eastleigh against Southend, I believe.
Yeah.
Right, go on
then. So this is a step 2 one, actually. The only one from step 2, I believe.
Right.
Rushall 4, Bennymore 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. We're now below step 2. So we've got Bradford Park Avenue 2, FC United and Manchester 4.
Yeah.
Marine 4, Stafford Rangers 0.
Yeah.
Lancaster 0, Hyde 4.
Yeah.
Hashtag United 4, Bognor Regis 5.
That's a good one.
It is. Billericay 6, Cray 0. Cray Wanderers, I think that is.
Yeah.
Wingate and Finchley 5, Whitehawk 1.
Mm-hmm.
Stratford Town 4, Barwell 3.
That's the one I knew about because Darren from Dash 71 was there, so you can see the highlights of that one on his YouTube channel.
You can do indeed. Sholing 5, Winchester 1. Hebburn 3, Pontefract Collieries 3. Widnes 4, Mossley 0.
Yeah.
Chasetown 4, 1874, Northwich 2. So I didn't get 1874 goals, obviously, they got 2. Spalding 0, Anstey Nomads 5, which was somewhat of a shock result in that league. Harbour Town 4, Shepshed Dynamo 0. Badshot 4, Guernsey 2. Marlow 4, Met Police 0. Ramsgate 4, Burgess Hill 2. Stowmarket 3, New Salamis 4. Kempston 4, Ware 2. Hadley 4, Waltham Abbey 3. Welwyn Garden City 3, Tame United 4. And Bishopscleave 6, Melksham United 1.
Cool. A lot of decent games there.
There was. And then
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, go on.
It was FA Trophy and FA Vase weekend, which
Yeah.
I believe, other than the final, this is the only round where both competitions are playing on the same day.
Yeah, they're usually 1 week after the next.
Yeah, but I think because of FA Cup and the potential of some trophy teams being in it still at this point, they do tend to do this one rain on the same weekend. So, a couple of standout. We'll start with the trophy. A couple of standout results. Either it's a big score or an upset, or in some cases both. So we've got Bishop Stortford 6, Aldershot 1.
Crikey, that's a big score.
Yeah, and somewhat of an upset.
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah, Aldershot have been doing well this year. So.
Yeah, like I say, last week we were talking about Aldershot in the FA Cup. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then we had Bath 0, Colville 0, and Colville won on penalties, so that's an upset.
Yeah.
Although there's only one step between them, so that's not a massive upset.
Mhm.
Then we had Solihull Moors 5, Nantwich Town 1. Then we had Hartlepool 0, Hampton and Richmond Borough 0, and Hampton and Richmond Borough won on penalties, so another upset.
Yeah.
Now, this one we heard on the radio, and we were like, really? Welling 2, Chesterfield 0.
Yeah, that's a big one. Chesterfield sitting top of the National League at the moment. So
Flying in the National League, and again,
absolutely.
narrowly losing to Watford in the FA Cup the week before.
Yeah.
But I've had a quick look into it. Apparently, they fielded a very young side, so maybe they're looking now more at concentrating on the league.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah.
And then this one also took us by surprise. Oldham 1, Hendon 2.
Yes, Hendon doing that one was a big result.
Especially as I read it out to you on Saturday that it was Oldham equalising in the 93rd minute and then Hendon winning it in the 96th.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the final standout result, which was also a big score, was Macclesfield 5, Dorking Wanderers 0. And that's Macclesfield of step 4.
Yeah.
Putting 5 past National League Dorking.
Yeah, big one.
Yep, so then moving on, we had the draw today.
The draw for the next round, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through all of them because it's the last 16, so there's only 8 games.
Yeah.
So we've got Welling versus Barnet.
Yeah.
Bromley v Averley.
Yeah.
Hereford v Gateshead. Peterborough Sports versus Kidderminster. Wealdstone versus Hendon. Chorley versus Solihull. Bishop Stortford v Colville. And Hampton and Richmond versus Macclesfield. So, Hendon got another away try to a National League outfit in Wealdstone.
Yeah.
Are Wealdstone still in the National League, or they've been relegated? No, they're still National League, aren't they?
No, they're National League, yeah.
Yeah. A long trip for Hereford, having to go to Gateshead.
Yeah, that's a bit of a trek.
Yeah, oh no, sorry, other way around. Gateshead are having to go to Hereford, but still.
That's downhill though, that's all right.
Yeah. Macclesfield, step 4 against Hampton and Richmond. I believe they're step 4, maybe step 3. So both teams.
God.
That's Hampton and Richmond. I think they're step 3.
They don't appear in step 2, so they must be in. Yeah.
I don't think they're step 4.
Yeah, I think they're step 3. So
I think Macclesfield are the only step 4 side left.
Okay.
So yes, both I would imagine will be pleased with that draw. And Colville again, step 3. Bishop Stortford, who I also believe are step 3. So we're going to have, going into the quarterfinals, at least 2 teams outside of step 2.
That's
which is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that moves us on to the FA Vase.
Yep.
There were 2 step 6 remaining in this round, and they were where have they gone? They were Hamworthy Recreation and Hartpury University, both away.
Yeah.
Hartpury University lost 2-0 to Falmouth. Hamworthy drew 1-1 with Jersey Bulls, but then lost on penalties.
Yeah.
So there are now no teams left from step 6. Everybody remaining in step 5.
Right.
Yeah. Biggest game of the weekend was 100% Farnham Town.
Yeah.
Coming up against Bridgewater United. Now, we say 100% Farnham Town, that's in the league. They've obviously lost in the FA Cup. We'd still be talking about it in the FA Cup, but we don't count that because you wouldn't expect a step 5 team to be there at this point anyway. So, a little bit of a shock. Farnham Town 1, Bridgewater United 2.
There you go. Like you
But
say, the way they've been
sorry,
flying this season, you'd expect them to do well in the Vase, but
we would, but then we also know that 3 losses for Bridgewater United was deemed unacceptable and resulted in the manager being sacked. So obviously they're throwing a bit of money at it as well.
yeah,
So yeah, I wonder how much he lost on that game. Probably nothing because Farnham would have paid his expenses.
yeah.
I wonder how much he
That's
billed him. That's the question.
it.
I might send Farnham a message and see if they tell us.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then there was one that interested you because it was the track you were on. Hilltop won, Erith won, Hilltop won on penalties.
Yeah, and they've been drawn at home, so they're still in the ultra low emission zone. So
Yeah.
I still won't be going to the next round for them either because I'm not paying the extra £12.50 to get my tank in that zone.
Then tie of interest for me, obviously, because it would have been Tividale that would have been he had that loss to Ashby. Was Stourport 3, Ashby Ivanhoe 1.
Yeah,
And then another one that interested me just because of the significance of the game in the area was Worcester 2, Lichfield 0.
yeah,
Lichfield flying high in our league and Worcester kind of starting to build a gap at the top of their league now. So that moves us on to the draw again, last 16, so only 8 ties, so I've got them all written down. The FA must have listened to our podcast on competition expenses. Because they decided they didn't do it with the trophy, but they actually decided to regionalise the Vase draw to
right.
limit expenses, to
Ah,
limit
okay.
to limit travel costs. Wasn't a great regionalise; it was north and south, but still,
Oh well, it's better than nothing, isn't it? So
yeah. It's prevented Jersey from having to go up north, so that's something.
yeah,
Or the other way around. So I would even go as far as saying they've actually regionalised it within the regionalisation, but not published that they've regionalised it because I think every draw in the north is the 2 closest teams playing each other.
right. I mean, Hilltop. Who did you say Hilltop have got?
Romford,
Yeah, it's only the other side of London, so that's quite close. So.
yeah. So we'll start with the south then. So obviously Hilltop and Romford have been drawn together.
Yeah.
We then have Bridgewater United versus Deal Town.
Versus who?
Deal.
Deal.
Yeah.
That's a long one.
How is it?
No, it's not. Bridgewater's. Where's Bridgewater? Sorry,
Bridgewater's
isn't it?
Somerset. It's just past Western and Breen.
Yeah, because Deal's Kent. So.
It's by Taunton.
Go on next.
Yeah. So maybe they didn't regionalise. They regionalised. And then we've got Tilbury versus North Greenford.
Yeah, it's only one side of London to the other. Yeah.
Yep. Highworth versus Great Wakering Rovers.
That's a big one because Great Wakering, I think, is Norfolk and Highworth is Wiltshire.
Okay, fair enough. Jersey Bulls versus Falmouth Town.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, you
that's just
couldn't get much further a bit closer without getting wet. So
yeah. And that's just Southern draw. And then the Northern draw was Emily versus Wickham. Wickham, not Wickham, as in Wickham, London, Wickham. It's just the way I speak. It sounds like it's the
yeah,
same. Hallam versus Lincoln United, which is a little bit of a jaunt, but
Sheffield to Lincoln, it's not that far. Yeah.
yeah. And the big one, Stourport versus Worcester.
That's a very local derby jobby.
That is a very local derby, and I've been advised it's got to be an all-ticket game, and there's potential it could be segregated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to go and report on that one.
Given the fact that we're at Lampwich Major the next week, I will probably stick with Tividale that week, and I think we're at home, so
Yeah.
I have to do. So if we were away, I would have
Oh,
thought about it.
yeah.
Yeah, those ties have been played on the 10th of February. I didn't check when the trophy's supposed to be played, but the 10th of February for the Vase.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
some big ties, some good games in there again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Stourport v Worcester, from me not knowing other leagues and other teams, for me is the biggest tie in there.
Mm,
I don't know about you if you know anything about the others or.
not really. No, I don't know much about them. So find
No.
out for next week. So
Yeah,
see if there's anything interesting among them.
yeah, but
Mm.
Stourport and Worcester
Yeah.
is a tasty one. Let's just say that Stourport is on the outskirts of Worcester, so
Yeah, you would call that one a tasty fixture. So.
yeah. And as I said the other week, Worcester City fans are kind of like the Villa fans in non-league in this area, so and obviously they're flying high in their league this season, so they're getting the numbers that they were getting
Yeah.
before when they weren't doing so well last year. They might have got 200 at home. They seem to be getting 900 at home again now. So
Lucky. Yeah. Mm.
they're expecting it to be a sellout, which I think is going to be around about 1,500.
Right.
Majority of that will be down to it being Stourport and Worcester, and it's
Mhm.
no longer a league fixture, so it will be the only time they play each other this year.
Yeah.
But then obviously you're always going to get, as I say, at this stage of the Vase, you're going to get your round hoppers as well, which are obviously now getting limited because there's less games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are probably looking at it. They are the only two Midlands teams left in it. So if people don't want to travel, or if the trains
Yeah.
misbehave, which is I've seen struck out announced for the 8th of January.
Mhm.
So if they announce more dates, if the trains misbehave, people will probably look to stay local.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a shame because we
Mm.
should have beat Ashby. We've beat
Well, there you
Stourport
go.
already this season, so what could have been?
Yeah. Yeah. You can
Yeah.
always say that, though, can't you? So
Oh yeah, 100%.
anyway,
Yeah.
so have you got who you got next Saturday? You got a game next week?
Uh yes. I don't know where I will be because I'm working Saturday morning and Tividale and Utah's through away.
Right. Okay.
There was a couple of games I was looking at. I think OJM are at home. I've not been to their new ground.
Hmm.
So I could potentially look at that. If it's going to be a 4G game, it's more than likely going to be Dudley Town again because there's not many around here.
Yeah.
So there is a couple of options. It's very unlikely to be Tividale. One, I don't think the game will survive the weather anyway.
Yeah.
But if it does, I'm not getting there by the time I finish work.
Yeah.
So yeah, most likely, if the weather's good, OJM. Can't remember who they're playing, but that's Step 6. That's Midland League Division 1.
Hmm.
Or it'll be Dudley Town at home, but I can't remember who they've got.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
you?
Well, I've got nothing planned for Saturday because I'm busy Saturday, Sunday this week. But I am going, like I said, tomorrow I'll be in Northern Ireland. I'm going to the Northern Irish League Cup semi-final between Glenavon and Portadown,
Fun.
weather permitting. Um, and then I'll try and get to a game either Monday or Tuesday next week. So I've got a non-league match report in
Yep.
time for our next episode.
Yes. Yes. There was three, and when I say quick, I mean very quick things that I've
Yeah.
seen in the news as well.
Well,
First of all, Kidderminster Harriers have appointed Phil Brown as their manager, as in
all right.
the Phil Brown, who was at Hull, famous for sitting his team down on the pitch at half time at the Emirates. Not the Emirates,
Yeah.
Etihad.
Yeah.
That's somewhat of a big appointment. Um, Atherstone Town in Tividale's league have been locked out of the ground.
Oh dear.
Now, on the face of it, it looks bad because their company on Company's House has been dissolved on Boxing Day.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, obviously, on the face of it, it looks bad.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of digging. I'm not doing too much digging, but just a little bit of digging. I don't think it's as bad as it seems on the face of it. it seems to be whoever was in charge is no longer in charge. He's passed it over to other people. I believe they've told the league and the FA. They just failed to tell the council, and the council are the ones who operate the ground.
Right.
So the council have just gone, well, we can't get in touch with whoever it is. You're not allowed in.
Right.
They are working. They are working with the club because with it being new owners, they've got to get new licenses and safety certificates and everything.
Yeah.
But until that happens, I don't believe they can play any fixtures at home. So they're potentially having to reverse fixtures. Yeah. So what we heard on Saturday was probably not the whole truth, which I
Yeah.
kind of guessed anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. And then the final thing, we spoke about a 2-game stadium ban for supporters for Bury last week.
Yeah.
A little bit of an update on that. Bury are either are or have submitted an appeal with the FA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is from the non-league paper, and I'm a little bit disappointed with the non-league paper here for not doing their research properly.
Right.
Because they've reported it as the decision was made after the comments of 2 supporters following the game versus West Disbury and Chorlton in September.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, the decision has come back off the back of that game. But
Yeah.
read the FA's report. Don't just listen to what the club are telling you.
Mm-hmm.
The FA's report, which again I didn't read all of it because I didn't expect this to pop up in the paper tonight as it being any different to what it was. But
Yeah.
from that, the FA states multiple incidents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. So it came off the back of that one incident, but that was a
Yeah.
culmination of several others. Yeah.
That's the one that's tipped it over the edge. And Bury are furious. As they have taken huge strides to promote diversity and inclusion and have raised money and awareness throughout the borough. I was like, yeah, that's fair enough, but you've clearly done nothing to combat it because it's multiple incidents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that incident in that game versus Didsbury and Chorlton, whoever it was, Westbury, you actually allowed those spectators to remain in the game, in the crowd.
Yeah.
I think what they're pushing at is, we'll pay a fine, whatever fine you want to give us, we'll pay the fine.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly they've been fined in the past. They have been fined £350 this time, as well as the 2-match stadium ban.
Yeah.
But they've been fined in the past, and clearly that hasn't worked.
No.
So naturally, this is your next step.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
It's a progression, isn't it? So
yeah, just because you're Bury and you're as big as your eye doesn't make you exempt from the rules. Unfortunately, although
no.
it seems it does with Manchester City, unfortunately, you're not Manchester City. And as I say, we go back to Atherstone. They had an incident at the start of the season. Reese from Highgate was racially abused when they played at Atherstone.
Mm-hmm.
That was dealt with by the club there, and then the supporter was evicted.
Right.
And it was dealt with by Atherstone. They released a statement saying it was wrong and blah, 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 and all that stuff that you'd expect that comes along with it.
Yeah.
He issued the banning order to the fan and all that, what you would expect the club to do, but they were handed a 2-game stadium ban for fans. So, like we said last week, it's nice to see, although it was 2 different KTFAs, the consistency.
Yeah.
So, for me with this one, I'm sorry, Bury, but you need to shut up, put up, take your punishment.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. So there we go.
And that was it, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
that
that was
brings us to a close. So
it. It does.
I'm getting an early night. I'm on a plane at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, so need to get up
Yeah.
and walk to the airport. So
Probably ice skate to the airport at the minute, given the weather.
yeah, possibly. But there we go. I'm certainly not driving there. I don't know what it cost me as much to park there as it cost me for the flight in the first place. Anyway, there we go.
I'll get a taxi.
That's our session. And
Yep.
until next week, sir. I shall speak to you then.
Yep, speak to
Goodbye,
you soon.
listeners. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.